Wow, London, GM, right? It's so good to be back in London. It's so good to be back at Zebu Live, because for those of you in the audience who were there last year, wow, this year is just amazing. Amazing in terms of people coming, amazing in terms of brand being there, amazing in terms of giving the right highlight to fashion, digital fashion in particular. And today, I'm here to discuss the topics of some of the biggest trends coming in digital fashion. And I'm really privileged to not just kick off the fashion stage here, but to actually kick it off with my friends, with people I respect, with people I work with people who influenced me, inspired me to be in the space. What do you say? Wow, that's really rude. I mean, yes, digital fashion is boring, but wow. Or is it? This is actually the question that we are going to discuss here today with this amazing panelist. So let me start from my left. I have Anna, who is head of marketing at DressX. She is actually the person behind some of the most viral, some of the biggest activations when it comes to digital fashion space. And I'm really happy to share the stage with you.
Thank you, Nikita. As always, this is the best intro possible.
Next, we have Beauty and Punk, my dear friend. And I guess for those of you who have been in this space for many years already, you know B as one of the biggest collectors. You might know B as the first lady, as the first woman holder of CryptoPunks, of Noun DAOs, of many other big relevant NFT collections and communities out there. But I also have a chance to know B as a builder, quiet but massive builder when it comes to fashion. And something that B is building right now is something that the space has never seen before, and I do believe that during today's panel, you might leak some alpha to our audience.
Only fair. He is good in intros, isn't he? Yep.
My favorite one. It was exactly 1 year since I told you that I'm gonna do it on the big stage, and what can be a better way to do it at Zebu Live here in front of all of these amazing people. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Marco, who is representing the fabricant, and there is only one thing that you actually need to know about Marco right now from the beginning of this panel. He's the most fashionable CTO you will meet in this space. I literally mean it.
I'm not just a brain. I have also a body, you know.
Guys, I would love to start our conversation here today by taking the step back to this rude gentleman who said that digital fashion is boring. I mean, I have been hearing it for a long time, and to a certain degree, I agree with it, right? Media headlines are not that friendly around the whole Web3 space, around the whole digitalization, and it feels like nothing big has been achieved in the last couple of years if you're not from the industry. Because if you are looking at this question from the industry, you know that brands are quietly but constantly building, exploring digital fashion from different sides. All this tech innovation, all this advancement that is coming with blockchain, that is coming with VR, AI. I would love to kick off our panel by discussing what is some of the biggest innovation that happened to fashion industry influenced by digital fashion in the last couple of years. Let's even say from the time of COVID. B, would you like to start?
Well, there are two things. I think we have seen some fashion-inspired, we have had the pixelated things coming from Dior and from Louis Vuitton. So you can see that even just that style being adopted by big brands. And this is just the looks of it. And then there's the technology behind it, right? And then that's a whole lot of conversation that we can have. I think digital fashion and Web3 and the digital economy that we have, it has influenced both sides of fashion, the technological production side and the fashion itself, the looks that we see on runways. And I think that's quite interesting to explore how the fabricant and also how much bigger the fashion industry is just digitally than most people give credit for. It's one of the biggest industries right now. It can be much, much bigger than traditional fashion industry. So I like how we have been able to tag, quality products as high fashion products, to have provenance on them. Otherwise, goodness grief for fake items. So I think it's interesting to see how brands have been adapting the way that they do business to observe and adopt those technologies.
And I mean, one thing, when people ask me why digital fashion should become a thing, why eventually it will be something bigger, I just answer by saying, I do believe in years from now, maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe more, there won't be this difference between digital fashion, let's say AI fashion, and traditional fashion. There will be one fashion. And I do believe what we as people, innovators who are representing digital fashion space are doing the best right now. We are trying to erase all these boundaries and show that there is one fashion. Fashion that can be innovative, fashion that can have this tech element, fun tech element, efficient tech element that will make it more transparent, that will make it more sustainable. But I'm not going to give all the alpha of our discussion here today, and I would love to ask Marco. For those of you in the audience who also by any chance don't know, the Fabricant is the very first digital fashion house that launched in 2019, and back then, the Fabricant is basically the first creator of a digital wearable as an NFT. So I do believe that you have a lot to share with the audience in terms of what kind of innovation we have brought, especially that the Fabricant was founded around the COVID time.
Yeah. And let me tell you something, okay? So I'm the biggest supporter of digital fashion, I'm also the biggest critic. Like the person that really hate a lot of things, they don't work. And when I saw the first video, I joined the Fabricant 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago. And when I first saw the first video from the Fabricant back in 2017, for me, I can tell you my words were, what the fuck? Because there was no technological innovation there. It was just a video of a working cycle of a fashion item without avatar. It was the biggest disruption, I think, for me in fashion that I've seen in the recent years. And there was no new innovation. Technically, it was just a CG, computer graphics, nothing new. Since then, and that was one of the reasons why I really love immediate digital fashion. Since then, I think as much as I love what we do, I think we are really running behind what the rest of technology innovation is doing. So we are really kind of waiting for other companies to do the real innovation. We talk about a lot innovation, but actually a lot is PR, marketing. It's not really engineering innovation, like new things, new protocols, nothing like that. And I think I would love to see more, and I'm talking about us as well, not just other companies. I think I want to see more from the other companies that really can bring that, because we are speaking a language where other companies are dictating what we do, and we use the tools that we have to reinvent fashion. Actually, I would love to really see coming from the digital fashion houses more really new tools, new things that really can disrupt the industry. That's kind of my angle. I mean, of course, that's why every time I hear about innovations, what do you mean exactly? Because I think it really we need to do more. And I'm excited because I know that we are building not just as well, the RSX, all the bigger. I love Restless, for example, what they are doing. I love Drop. There are many other ones that are really doing well.
I actually love big time what you said at the beginning, that at first you're a critic who is trying to find the flaws in this space, in this digital fashion reality, to make it more adequate for people, to make it more adaptable, to make it more efficient in terms of usage, not just something that is out there for the sake of just creating and just playing around, but actually something out there for people to be used on a daily basis. And I do believe that to a certain degree, all of you are critics of what you do, critics of what is going in this space, because otherwise, right now, we wouldn't have this distinguishment between digital and traditional. We're still not there. Traditional brands are still, to a certain degree, afraid to come and try this innovation, try this technology to its fullest. But we are on the right way. And us questioning what is good and what is bad, and what is more important, how this bad can be turned into good for other people to be used. This is a wonderful approach, in my opinion.
Yeah, sorry. No, it's just to that, I think being a critic, if you really love something, you have to be a critic of it. Otherwise, you're not going to see it grow. So I think it's the one thing everyone should take home from this talk, right? Yeah, be a critic of it, definitely.
I love it. Otherwise, there is no growth, as we just said. Anna, I feel like when we're talking about DressX, I can call DressX a true digital fashion hub. I mean AR filtering, I mean digital wearables, NFTs that are out there. There is almost nothing that DressX is not doing when it comes to technology and innovation. And I know that you guys are testing new technology, which I believe you will share with us later today. So what is the biggest technological advancement that happened to digital fashion space, in your opinion, in the last couple of years?
Yeah, Nikki, you mentioned that basically you defined this time period as from COVID, and I think it's really interesting. Although I agree that there is always much more that we can do and we need to grow even more, but actually COVID was such a boost for digital fashion space, and I hear a lot from different brands, not only in DressX obviously, that it was actually COVID that made us think that maybe we can switch to digital fully. Like, for example, we started, like, the idea was born as like an extension for the physical clothes to be tried on and worn in digital space. And then the COVID started, and we thought, if we are using digital fashion for a photo, why would we even need a physical garment if the actual product is in digital? And since the beginning of DressX, that was actually 3 years ago now, when I just joined the team, we went from digitally dressing the pictures in 48 hours to doing it instantly, to making AR, to partnering with some of the most famous brands. And actually, when you say that digital fashion is boring, I find actually maybe it is one of the most exciting spaces in the moment, because how many people haven't heard about digital fashion at all? Like, now it's kind of all merging, and this last fashion week we just saw, it was full of technology, really. Like, when we saw a show where there wasn't technology, that was kind of maybe weird, or like we would want to see something like an advancement or something. So I'd say that we will see a lot of growth at the moment, and we saw lots of brands like Hugo Boss and Diesel and, you know, big names dipping their toes into this space right now, and it's very exciting that they're starting small, but we are sure that they will go bigger, and we are happy to provide some technology and grow with them as well.
Wow, it's getting hotter and hotter, even though we just started this conversation.
Notice me too.
It is, it is.
Suddenly.
I would love to just elaborate a bit more on what Anna just said, because it actually fits well the way how I would love to introduce the next question, the next big topic to discuss: brands. Brands joining the space, and brands being empowered and brave enough to try this new technology. You just mentioned the fashion months, right? And I know that all of you were independently or at some point together with me going through all this fashion September, and done. But one specifically, which I would love to highlight here, is Amsterdam Fashion Week, actually one of the first that kicked off the whole month. During Amsterdam Fashion Week, for the very first time in fashion history, the digital fashion runway show, and I know that a couple of people are out here. I've seen Shaylee, which I would love to give you a lot of props out here. I see Adriana, who was there as well. This was the very first digital runway show that was officially published on the official traditional fashion agenda. So you going through all of these traditional fashion brands and seeing one runway show after another, there was a digital fashion show. It was the first time in fashion history. And I do believe if it's something, this is a sign that we are moving in the right direction. This is a perfect sign for brands to see that something interesting is happening, and you need to take a look at some parts of this technology. In this particular case, I'm talking about holographical show. But apart from that, we have so many different cases. Let's take, for example, Boss. Back in Milan, they had a robotic show, so robots who were presented during the runway show, who were presented after the runway show. Diesel, who organized the first public event for 7K people, they partnered with DressX just a week before that to level up your Meta looks for Meta, for Instagram, for Messenger. So basically the same looks that you can find in stores, you can now wear your digital avatars as well. Dolce & Gabbana has been inviting their most loyal community members through their NFT program to their shows, show after show. If there is something, that there is definitely some technology that works. And we just need this mass adoption. We just need to bring more brands into this space. So
I think the problem with the brands is not, they know that the technology is coming, that they know that it's innovative and it's disruptive. And I think the biggest problem with those big traditional high fashion brands is that they cannot reconcile it doesn't match what they sell and the consumers they currently have with the consumers of digital clothes. Those are two different people, and I think the difficulty there is talking to all of them and not lose the current customers they have, because it's not a fad. It's not something that's going to be temporary. It's not going away. This is something that's building up slowly, and it will be here to stay. But how do they not cut that connection that they have to those old customers who are literally getting old, and how do they keep that image that they have but evolve? How do they get the right advice on joining the space in a genuine way? I think the biggest concern for those brands is how to do it well and not break the connection with their traditional customers, because they will see this as, this brand doesn't represent me anymore. It's not the luxury I imagined, but it is. How do they maintain that continuum? I think that's the biggest problem for them right now.
And this is the question we are about to discuss right now, because I want to understand and I want to share with our audience how traditional fashion brands, luxury brands who have, let's say, hundreds of years of heritage, they have this fashion in their DNA, but they are kind of afraid, not sure in which way to use this technology. How to make sure for these brands that they can balance this heritage on one side, but at the same time, they have this technological advancement. Because if you ask me, I feel like this innovation part of fashion is something that will drive the new generation of buyers. There need to be some fun element, whether it's somehow connected to blockchain, perhaps, whether it's somehow connected to your digital wearable that represents what you wear, or there is some gamification elements. And I see that, Marco, you've been quietly waiting for your turn, and you've been smiling a couple of times while listening to me. I would love to listen to you.
No, I mean, I think brands want to be here in this space, but heritage means, of course, preserving their own identity, and how you present their own identity if you see a technology they don't necessarily respect easily their identity. Not all brands are ready, for example, to have a mashup with AI or having AR filters, because the quality of what is achieved is different from what you actually you can wear physically. Also blockchain, I mean, we all know that blockchain is a scam, like they said. Is the big problem, really, adopting that kind of layer of technologies, because they don't believe, unfortunately, on that. They don't believe on all that, because they see all the issues that we are facing as a company in general. All companies in the Web3 space, they face at some point, if there is not attack from hackers or problems with a smart contract or onboarding is difficult. I mean, collection, most recently collection, we have problems like onboarding people from New York State. How you are not able to sell digital fashion in New York? It's crazy. You can do, I don't know, everywhere except some major state in the US. It's not like the e-commerce experience that you expect in 2023. It's far from there. And that's a big problem, because brands, they see that and they say, why we should be here? We love what you do, we keep looking, but let's catch up in 1 year, in 2 years. And apart from that, there are many probably innovation teams. They are not really innovation teams, they are marketing PR teams. They are really scared about the technology, so they really need to be evangelized and educated about all the technologies issues. And when they see AI, when they see AR, when they see VR or metaverse, they're really excited about the hype around, but then when they see what this technology can bring, they are hesitant. They can say, okay, I don't want that. I want something that just work. And that's kind of the difference between language that we face. Of course, there are more and more brands that actually are aligned finally. And of course, we are building with them, excited with them. Or in the meantime, we need to educate the rest of brands. And in the meantime, build technology that really works for the rest of people. Because
that's the problem with being early, right?
Yeah,
you take risks, and the risks can be with the technology itself. Yeah. Yes. So you have to balance how early do you want to be, or how do you want to come into something that's already stable and established. So you have to ponder where you win and where you lose as a brand like that. Yeah, do I want to be one of the people that were early enough? And so we have been pioneers in fashion, how we pioneers in digital fashion. So, but there are risks. And usually they're not well advised by people that should work inside the organization to tell them, here's trustworthy information, here are trustworthy people that you can gather and talk and develop with, right? And you see that growing together. And it might not be perfect, but I bet it wasn't perfect at the beginning of your brand either. So, you have to be a bit merciful there.
3 years ago, we applied for London Fashion Week, and they said, you are not fashion. Like that, because you are doing digital, so it's not fashion.
I mean, let's be honest. I cannot blame all these brands for being cautious about this space. It's totally fine. Like, this space is full of scam in a certain way. When brands are trying to be something that they're not bringing the true innovation, but just kinda digital, kinda sustainable. So I cannot blame the traditional brands that have hundreds of years of history to risk, because I know that behind all of this cautious, there is curiosity coming from their side. I know that they have their ears open and eyes looking to left and right, because they are quietly but constantly testing the water. They need the right push, the right moment. But I know that all of these brands that we mentioned today, either they already have some kind of solution, version 1, version 2, or they're open for this solution. And in my opinion, this is the best thing, hearing that these brands are eagering to do something in digital space. And I know that a lot of things that these brands are willing to do should be and are already provided by brands like The Fabricant or Dressex. Some solutions that are ready to go out there for public, solutions to be for internal teams, whether it will be internal calls, whether it will be some events organized for your community, for your loyal customers. Let's even take 1% of all customers out there. So Anna, I would love to hear from you. Do you think that technology is the right way for traditional brands to innovate and attract this new wave of users? And if so, maybe you can share with us some of the solutions that DressX is providing or some other digital fashion brands are providing in this space for traditional fashion brands feel themselves more comfortable.
Sure, I really love this conversation between Marco and B about the risks and kind of how the space is very dynamic in the moment. And I think it's amazing to see that basically it's a feedback coming back and forth from both of the kind of sides. It's very important for us to work with traditional brands so we can have the feedback on what they want and what works for them, for us to improve the technology and give them the new product that would actually make sense for their audience. And it's never kind of just choosing your old kind of audience where you kind of grew with over all of those years in luxury fashion, or the new audience. It's kind of like merging them both and appealing to both of them while obviously attracting some new customers. And at DressX, we, as you know, started with like digital dressing. We, on our first year of our existence, we partnered with Farfetch, and we tried some marketing campaign for them to make it more sustainable and easy. Since then, we developed our AR technology, and we are now making lots of events where people can actually try the items in AR, which makes that they can maybe just have fun during the event or make a more informed decision about purchasing the item later in physical version. We partnered with Roblox and Meta, and we are launching lots of collections there where people can also kind of maybe bring their physical item to digital and try it out in a different space just to see how it feels and what they can do with it. And now, speaking about Alpha, we are also developing our new technology, which was very much in demand from lots of our partners, and we heard them and we showed them while we were testing it, and they all really wanted it. We are launching our DressX camera, where it will allow brands to bring their items to some team Zoom calls, or to get their people who are working for them to showcase maybe their items on the call, or it will allow all of us really to like be more fashionable on the calls. Isn't that what we all dreamed of during COVID, when we were too lazy, I guess, to dress up for a video call? Now we can just do it in a couple of clicks and choose any look on the camera. We are actually soft launching it soon, so if anyone would want to be a first early tester for us and provide their feedback, please come to me after the panel, and I can collect your email and we can send it to you. But that's something that we are very excited about, and obviously there is lots of technology that is currently under development, and we are really trying to make it suitable for the brand. That's why we need this feedback from them.
I really like that all of you had your own approach answering this question, but at the same time, at the end of the day, we all agree that we need more feedback. We need more adjustments, more changes. It should come from the audience, from people out there who are wearing this digital fashion, who are using this digital fashion. What is it?
Give us feedback.
Give us feedback, please. I also know, like looking at one of my friends, Adriana, hey, I know that right now there is happening DressX runway challenge, and I know that why I mentioned Adriana just a couple of weeks ago during London Fashion Week, we're filming some of these fashionable looks for her to participate as well. It shows that digital fashion can be accessible to everyone. You don't need to work in digital fashion field. You don't need to be a fashionista. You can be just a random person who want to test new technology, who want to learn what is happening there, because there are so many solutions happening right there. Solutions that are efficient, solutions that are accessible, solutions that are fun, but are they sustainable? This is my next question. I know 100%, I know that we just had with you this conversation earlier in Lugano during this September, and I want to come back to this conversation and let the audience hear from you why digital fashion is sustainable and how much more sustainable is it than traditional fashion.
I think main two ways that it is sustainable, that it makes fashion more sustainable. You know, there is the production, that you can do a lot of it, you know, before it gets to stores, before it actually is mass produced to go to stores, you can do a lot of it digitally, and that's where you talk to these people. And the fun part of it, where you want to wear something, you want to do a runway show for your Instagram followers, and you don't have to go and buy 7 bags of clothes. You can do a lot of combinations. And again, you're going to go to brands who are the new fashion brands that we want to do? You know, do we want to follow the old styles? It's good to have validation from them, like we have from Sotheby's and Christie's selling CryptoPunks. So it brings us validation to be on London Fashion Week, but we don't necessarily need them. It's cool to have. So the fashion brands are coming up and making it fun. And this is our life, you know, our lives are this. We want to talk about this. We want to wear this. We want to live this in every aspect. We want to put it on Twitter. We want to put it on Instagram. You want to do a Zoom call with people that are from Web3 or not. And there will be a question about it. What is that? How cool is that? Where'd you get it? And we want to be fun and cool, and we don't have to get bags and bags of clothes to do it. So I think that the two ways, like the production side of it, gains a lot from digital industry. And wearing fashion itself, either you can have something that will have, every time you go out, you can have a different filter for it. And then every time someone meets you, you know, it's just, there's so much you can do around it. And then who are the brands that you're gonna go for it? Are you supporting someone who has been here all along with you and understands you and you share values with, or you go to someone who has different values than you do? So how do you build your wardrobe as well? I think that says a lot of how you want to go forward.
The verdict from B, it's sustainable. Sold.
Yeah, sold.
Marco, what's your take on all this sustainability keyword? Because it feels like, specifically in this digital fashion space, it's sometimes got too hyped. Like, people forget what sustainable, eco-friendly, world environment friendly actually means, and they're just sustainable this, sustainable that, but what is actually sustainable in digital fashion space?
Yeah, because one of the reasons why the Fabricant was founded and created was sustainability concept. Like Amber, the co-founder, the creative director, she was the first one that graduated with a fully digital collection because we want to really disrupt completely the industry in that sense. And since then, we evangelize a lot about sustainability. I think there are a few things. When we're talking about production, yes, it potentially is gonna solve a lot because I work also before the Fabricant with different configurator demos with big brands about making in VR, AR solution where you can test prototypes before doing, and this is gonna solve a lot of the fabric waste that you have in the fashion industry. And also the fact that virtual try-on ideally should limit the needs to go to any e-commerce, buy and then send back because you took a picture and that's it. It's still not there, honestly, because if I look at the quality of the result, it's still not there. So I don't know how much you are really solving now that problem, how much we are reducing the demand of physical fashion. I think now we are kind of in parallel, creating new demand for new creation, and that's cool, because I don't think digital fashion should be a replica of the physical fashion. But at the same time, it's difficult to really measure the impact of digital fashion for the sustainability problem. We solve for the blockchain, now all blockchain looks good, everything is solved there, that's fine. But the problem about fabric waste, about overproduction for fast fashion, I don't think we are there yet. But that's the bigger potential, of course.
Nevertheless, even though we're not there yet, it's going to be a long journey. It's going to be a bumpy journey. But we're here for this long journey. Even though it's not there yet, you started the company with the sustainability in your blood, in your DNA. And you have been through to yourself, to your community, to what you do by putting this sustainability as one of the top priorities out there. And this is exactly what you want to hear from digital fashion brands. Not just building something for any reason, but actually building something to make some impact, some positive impact, to be a showcase, to be an example for other brands out there. And I know that this is exactly the story with Drasex, because Drasex at the beginning was built as sustainable brand. Even sometimes I forget name Drasex, I just say sustainability and people understand, yeah, you're talking about Drasex. Why? Because this is perhaps my most favorite fact when it comes to Drasex. The very first employee of Drasex that was officially hired was Olga, who is Chief Sustainability Officer 3 years ago, the very first employee after both three co-founders, Olga, and she is still holding this position. She is still coming up with sustainability reports every year, sustainability summits for digital fashion and traditional fashion. So Anna, I know that sustainability is also not a buzzword for you, but it actually means something. Can you share with us?
Yeah, again, I'm very much agreeing with Marco and V. I love this panel already, and I agree that none of us are perfect, obviously, and it's very early to judge if digital fashion can actually substitute traditional fashion consumption. That's something that we had as an idea when we first launched, that we want digital fashion to be used for our virtual presence, our social media, instead of just purchasing new clothes every time. And obviously, it's difficult to judge at the moment how it's going, but we keep on sending questionnaires and surveys to our community every year to assess, did they notice that actually purchasing digital item made them maybe reconsider their physical purchase, or did it help them to make a more kind of considerate or informed purchase of the physical item? And not only we launch this reports, but we're also trying to count. Every time you go on the Drasex website or on the Drasex app, under every item you can see if you purchase this item in digital instead of purchasing it in physical, how much would you save in terms of CO2 and water? And that we want to believe that obviously this educational moment can also give you a motivation to maybe reconsider your purchases in the physical life. And you know, if you can substitute it with digital, you probably should. And even coming back to this challenge that Nikki, you mentioned, thank you very much for bringing that up. As a person who's coming from traditional fashion, we all know how street style and pictures during Fashion Week is something that we all kind of want to be featured in, and we all want to showcase our looks. We launched our challenge where everyone, no matter if you're traveling for Fashion Weeks or not, you can get dressed in some virtual looks at Drasex, record your video, and actually win the trip to Paris, New York, London, or Milan next season with Drasex to feel like you're in fashion industry, even though you can try it anywhere in the world with digital fashion.
I love it. We're not perfect, but we're moving in the right direction. We're not perfect, but we are trying. We're not perfect, but we are here, we are real. Those people are making sure that digital fashion is fun, innovative, sustainable already right now. And if you ask me, I know that these people will not stop until it becomes even more fun, even more efficient, even more innovative and sustainable. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did, because it was amazing. And I know that all of these people are not living. They'll be here today, they'll be tomorrow today. So the best thing you can do is to actually come, say hi, I would love to connect with you, I would love to work with you, I would love to learn from you, because I know that these people will do everything to make digital fashion just fashion as we all want it to be. Thank you very, very much.